Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow gamers. Lost Decay here. The EA 2018 E3 press conference just took place yesterday, and man, oh man, let's talk about it. So EA started their press conference off with showing some footage of Battlefield 5 and talking about what makes this Battlefield the best Battlefield ever made. Nothing we haven't heard before from DICE when speaking of a new game. I personally have zero interest in this title. I really enjoyed Battlefield 4, and the destruction and scale of that game was insane, and it still gets played by thousands of people to this day. Battlefield 1 was a letdown for me. I just couldn't get into the old school weapons and the new style. The only thing that ever made me interested was more so just the gorgeous visuals of the game. And now we have Battlefield 5, back to World War II. I do think it's cool how EA is describing it as their take on the Second World War, and I also really appreciate how they say there will be no loot boxes and no premium pass. Thumbs up to DICE and EA for that. They announced Battle Royale mode is coming to Battlefield 5, which is kind of cool, but showed absolutely nothing on it. They talk about how they are bringing back war stories and how the Microsoft conference will get an exclusive look there at Nordley's war story. I'll be watching that later today. Overall, I think the game looks amazing graphically, but I'm just not that into Battlefield anymore. To me, this just looks like a continuation of Battlefield 1, but with better visuals and new stories, and like I said, I'm just not that interested. Maybe my opinion will change after watching the exclusive look at the Microsoft show today, but I highly doubt it. Next up, EA went straight into FIFA 19, and I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'm not a big sports gamer, especially team-based sports. They've just never been my thing. I don't believe sports games should even be full priced upon release every year, because it's reaching a point where we just keep getting the same thing with slight improvements and the odd new mode. And the new FIFA looks no different. Better visuals, a new story-based mode, and just an overall improvement upon FIFA 18. I do give EA props so that this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch, as did FIFA 18. Nintendo needs these third-party titles, so thank you EA, but that's about all I got for FIFA 19. After FIFA 19, we got a small discussion with Vince Zampella from Respawn Entertainment, talking about the new Star Wars game being developed by their team. He said the name of the game is Jedi Fallen Order, and that Respawn has been in talks with Lucas about the setting and whatnot. He said it takes place during the dark times between episode 3 and episode 4, and Vince just kept saying how amazing the game is going to be. He said to expect it holiday 2019, but even though this was part of the show, it didn't add any level of excitement to it for me. Without any footage or anything new to view, we already know more Star Wars games are coming. That's no surprise to us. I'm happy Respawn are making it. I'm a huge fan of Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2, so we'll just have to wait and see how this game turns out when we actually get some footage. Next, we had the Star Wars Battlefront 2 team talk about the status of the game. They talked about their mistakes with the game's launch and how they have new characters like young Han Solo, General Grievous, Count Dooku, and Anakin Skywalker coming to Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 is diving deep into the Clone Wars setting again, so they say. But again, this is just stuff that I don't care about at all. EA messed up bad with Battlefront 2 at launch, so instead of fixing it, how about EA just gives us new games? Games that are good, right at launch. Now we're reaching a point where the show was actually good for me for a little bit with Unravel 2. I was a huge fan of the first Unravel. I thought it was a very clever and emotional experience in gaming. The sense of mystery behind the story was very compelling, and I overall enjoyed it a lot. I bought it on Xbox One. I thought the gameplay was fantastic. Now we're getting Unravel 2, and it's going to be 2-player local co-op. This is very exciting. It's also releasing yesterday, like it's already out now. They released it immediately, so that's great. Thank you EA for that. I mean, graphically it's a pretty game. It's got great charm. The puzzles were very clever, and I will be buying this game at some point, and I'm really looking forward to it. So again, thank you EA for actually giving us something good finally in the presentation, and hey, it was only an indie. Next up, continuing with the indies though, we got a look at a new game being developed by a studio called Joe My Games in Berlin called Sea of Solitude. This game looks a bit interesting. The art style reminded me a lot of Rime. If any of you guys have never played Rime before, it's a pretty decent game. I recommend playing it on PS4 though. If you play the Nintendo Switch version, it can be a little bad with the frame rate drops sometimes, so Yeah, if you try out Rime, play it on PS4 for sure. The creative director spoke about how the game is about a female protagonist that is just feeling so lonely and aggressive in her thoughts that it takes her basically on an imaginary thrill ride that she has to recover from and learn from. I'd say that the game is coming early 2019, and I look forward to seeing this title in the future and seeing some more stuff on it. Back to the boring sports again. We start getting into NBA Live 19 and Madden NFL 19. I'm not going to talk about these games too much. They simply just don't interest me. It's nothing that we don't expect from EA. I don't know why EA even bothers showing sports games at E3. I think they would be better off to just do a separate presentation with EA Sports. Sports games are just boring, repetitive, and are just the same game being released over and over again every single year with minor upgrades, so let's move on. This is when the show got really boring with a new strategy game on mobile called Command & Conquer Rivals. Mobile games just don't interest me whatsoever. I use my phone for staying up to date with my social life and reading articles and watching videos here on YouTube, etc., etc. If you think this game looks cool, that's great. No worries, but it's not for me personally. Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, Anthem. Anthem was shown at E3 2017 at the Microsoft conference, and majority of people were wowed by it, myself included. I'm really looking forward to this game. EA and BioWare gave us a very big showing of it. We got a good idea of how the co-op versus the single player is going to work. We got to see some really big bosses that we'll be fighting. Not much intel on story, which kind of sucked, but overall, I was pretty happy with the Anthem showing. They announced a release date of February 22nd, 2019, so that's great that it avoids the holiday season this year with all the heavy competition. And like I said, this game looks amazing in my opinion. It looks like it will be fun to play with friends online. It's gorgeous graphically, the weapons look really cool, so I'm really looking forward to Anthem. And that's pretty much it. So overall, from this presentation, we got Battlefield 5, boring sports titles as per every other year, a mobile game, 2 new indies that look interesting, and a good showing of Anthem. EA, you need to wake up and start giving us what we want. We want new experiences. I mean, like, where the heck is Skate 4? Fans are dying for a new Skate game. That's the main reason why I even watched this press conference, was to hopefully see a new Skate. You know that it will sell extremely well. Bring back Black Box Studios from the dead and just make a new Skate game ASAP, because it's probably the only thing that will save you. Just please wake up, EA, and go back to being good. Anyway, guys, I'll have a video up later tonight for the Microsoft conference. Really looking forward to that. Can't wait to see what Xbox have coming. So, and that's all I got for today, guys. Game on.